Jerry Uelsmann was born on the 11th of June in 1939. He is currently 82 years old and lives in Florida with his third wife. When Jerry was 14 years old, he expressed an interest in photography, assuming that it would allow him to live a world seen through the lens of a camera. Although his grades were poor, he graduated from the Rochester Institute of Technology with a Bachelor of Arts degree, and in 1960 he received his Master of Fine Art and Master of Science degrees from Indiana University. In the same year, Jerry Uelsmann was offered a job to teach photography at the University of Florida. Being the only photographer in the arts department, he began to explore the options offered by the university's darkroom. Instantly, he fell in love with the darkroom, which enabled him to further enhance his creative processes as he considers photography an experimental form of art which allows him to express his artistic vision on life. Jerry Uelsmann's type of work is majorly surrealism, by creating composite photographs using multiple negatives within the darkroom. The majority of his work are primarily black and white with extensive midtones and greys. He also tends to add two focal points within an image to contrast between the natural and artificial aspects. The title of this artwork I will be analysing is Threshold, which was produced in 1999. The image Threshold is a portrait black and white photograph edited and developed inside a wet darkroom. The border of the photograph is pitch black and there is a bright archway in the center. Outside the archway are large stone bricks which make up the walls of the structure. In midground is the archway and centered within it is a large pair of dark floating wings. The passageway walls are crumbling and seem very dark and wet. Outside, however, it is very bright and a complete contrast of the inside. Underneath the wings we have a small path leading into a grass garden and there are trees very distant in the background. In the foreground there are two hands palms out up holding a nest with a single broken egg on top as if for a sacrifice of some sort. Threshold is a portrait image with the diameters 34.29 cm in length and 24.13 cm in width. The image was taken in an eye-level view looking directly forwards into the distance. The depth of field is medium as the majority of the image is in focus but the background. The wings in the middle ground and the hands in the foreground are very clear, however the trees distant into the background are unfocused. The lighting within this artwork is artificial and is coming from the center of the background. With that being the main light source, everything close by is illuminated brightly, and as we move further away, the darker the image becomes. I believe there is also another light source coming from directly in front and above the bird's nest. This is because the shadow of the nest is very short and falls right behind it. This artwork is a black and white image and the tonal range is very wide. There are some areas where there is complete darkness, indicating a very low key tone, and other areas such as the background are very bright, which shows a high tonal range. The dark blacks and lively whites create a very distinctive contrast within the image as the tonal range is very wide. There are tones from both ends of the spectrum, however there are very few mid and grey tones. The background is very bright and harsh from the white light, which is a contrast to the soft white light falling upon the nest and the hands. The medium of this image is a gelatin silver print. It was created by combining various negatives and masking off different parts of the paper at different times whilst exposing other parts. By using up to as many as 7 enlargers to expose a single print, Jerry Uelsmann produces photos without the aid of Photoshop or any other editing applications. The type of equipment he uses are a Mamiya 7 and Bronica GS1, which gives him the largest size of negative roll film. The paper he uses is an Ilford multigrade warm tone, and he uses the basic Dectol developer. The enlargers Jerry Uelsmann uses are the Saunders LP 4550 XLG, which have contrast heads to offer more control. This image is symmetrical and the different shapes and irregular lines lead the viewer's eyes into the midground, especially the wings. The mood is both one of happiness and sadness, with the wings representing death and the egg representing new life. As a result, the image feels very heavy as the hands lift not only the egg, but life of all forms, whether human or animal. This also creates a very surreal feel, as people can't imagine wings floating in mid-air or hands raising an egg nest. Although Jerry Uelsmann did not record an intention about his artwork, the message perceived by the viewers is one of life and death. If you place yourself within the passageway, it would seem very scary and dark, with your only light source coming from outside. The archway is perceived as a threshold, or entrance into another world, one of freedom and salvation, such as in heaven. The white wings placed in the middle by Jerry Uelsmann seem to be of an angel's, which show that after our deaths, we will be taken care of in the afterlife. The wings most likely belong to the broken egg, and another way to perceive this message is that by taking care of what we have in life and by loving others, an angel will take us to heaven in our afterlife. When looking at this image, I see it as a sacrifice for a greater good. The hand holding the broken egg is typical of someone offering something, and the contrast between the harsh black and whites make me feel as if one side is happy and positive, whereas the other side is sad and gloomy. Also, the wings are a symbol of life after death and look as if they belong to an angel. I believe that by sacrificing all negative attributes such as greed and violence, you will benefit in your afterlife. Additionally, because a threshold is a place or point of entering or beginning, I presume that the inside is life where we're currently in right now and the outside is the afterlife. In conclusion, this image is very different from a typical Jerry Uelsmann work and it was unusual for him to create it. I really like the way Jerry makes these surreal images without the aid of Photoshop. Although it takes him countless hours, the final results are amazing as they tease the mind into trying to work out how these images could possibly be real.